Welcome back to the table, everyone. We are going to do turn 3. This is the Courier Satchel, the first scenario from the book. This is Conflict of Heroes, Storms of Steel, 3rd edition. And where we left off, the Soviet player had just brought on the Courier with the Satchel and got it into one of the headquarter buildings, and they earned a victory point. The Germans, we had 2 infantry come in from this side of the board. I think that's the southeastest side of the board. A couple of infantry came in, and then we started the game with 2 Panzer Grenadier units that came in and pushed. And so that's where we're at now. We got a Panzer Grenadier unit here, still back in the woods. They were fighting with this group here. We have a lot of Germans here trying to take this building, and they're pushing because we want to get into that Courier there. The Soviets have suffered two casualties. Germans are still fighting fresh, but we do have a wounded German unit here, and we have a wounded Soviet unit here. We'll play it out. And when we left off, the Soviet player had 1 initiative, so this is the basically, I guess, top of turn 3. And yeah, we only got 4 caps for the. So I got to remember real quick. I got the cards here. Soviet player has roll 1 die 6 and add the result to your caps, and then the German player had a follow me, automatically rally a unit, even if in a hex with an enemy unit. Oh, well, that'll be really important. Okay, so first we're going to go with the Soviet player. Well, let me see. What was this guy wounded? He had cowering. He gets more defense. He can only shoot adjacent, but his cap penalty for shooting raises him from a 4 to a 6. So he can get a shot. I think what might be best is to have the Soviet unit shoot here into this unit. Now, my follow me card has a lightning bolt. So what I want to do, I'm just going to pause real quick and see if that means I can play it any time on my turn, or if I can just play that at any time. Because if I can play it now, I want to rally that German unit before the Soviets attack it. So let me just take a moment to find out. Alright, rulebook says the lightning bolt means you play it as an action, which is important because this card that the Soviets have for earning some cap points, basically I'm going to point at a unit and say that unit is performing that action, and then that's their AP point cost to see if that spins them or not, and then they get the benefit on the card. So the Soviets, they're going first. They definitely want to go ahead and shoot and see if they can eliminate that German unit. So let's do some math here. They're in a building, so that would bring their defense to 13. And then the Soviets have an attack score of 4. So I'd bring that 13 down to a 9. And then they're adjacent. That's a 6. So right now we got a 6 that we need to roll or higher. And I think we'll spend just 1 cap point for the Soviet player because he's lost a couple. And we need to roll a 5 or higher now. I mean, could I go more cap points to really guarantee? I think 5 is reasonable. And I rolled a 3. Okay, well, that seems to be typical for me. Even if I had spent that second action point, that would have brought me to a 4. That still would have failed. So at least this way, I only lost 1 cap point. But we tried. However, they are cowering. So that brings them... Normally they fire at a 4. We add 2 to that. So it's at 6. I need to roll that 7 not to be spent, because they're trying to hide and not be seen. They roll a 7. Oh boy. That won't happen again. Well, they get stressed. Okay, so the German player now, he will go ahead and play the follow me to automatically rally. Automatically rally unit, even if in a hex with an enemy unit or the hit marker has a no rally condition. Well, they're going to do it. So they play it there. I discard. That means they are rallied. However, that will go back into the damage thing. You know, and I just had a thought, a quick remembering. They're in a building. that might give a bonus to the rally, and which I may have neglected previously, but that's one of those little details that slipped my mind till just a second. Let me see if there's a bonus. Well, no, that's a bonus to the rally action. They succeeded at the rally action. This is now for the AP, the action point cost. So that card is an action point cost of 2, and that means I got to roll a 3 or higher not to be spent. They roll a 6, so they're not spent. Okay, but they did an action, so that does stress them. You wouldn't think trying to rally is a stress, but I guess if someone's yelling at you to get your butt in gear. Now with the Soviet player, I forgot to flip German side, now it's back to the Soviet player. He could shoot again and almost guarantee, that will guarantee that he is spent for sure. But he's got 3 units coming at him. He probably wants to put some hurt on somebody. And I already know, oh, you know what? This is a better target now. I shot at this target because they were already wounded. That would eliminate it. This target is in the open. We definitely want to shoot at that one. So they have a defense of 12, no other modifiers. Their gunnery score is 4, so that's already an 8. Adjacent is a 5. We'll spend that cap point to make it a 4. Gotta hit this time. A 7. Okay, we beat the score by 3. You destroy a unit if you beat the number needed by 4 or more. But that is a wound. Not destroyed, but it is a wound. So I'll grab this here, and we'll just take, grab this one. Suppressed. All right. So they're going to have +1 action point when they attack, but they have penalties for when they shoot. So if they shoot, it's going to be harder for them to stay fresh. All right, now they were already stressed, so that adds 1 to their action point cost. Yeah, let me just make that all face the same direction there. So they were already at a 4. 1 for stressed is a 5. And then they had +2 because of their wound. That's a 7. They're automatically stressed. If I roll a 7, they're still stressed, or still going to be spent. So they will be spent, and they retain the stress. Okay. Then we flip back to the German player's side. So I don't want to attack with him because he's got penalties to hit. This unit is a Panzer Grenadier unit. They have a 5 to attack with, so we're going to attack with them. This was a wood building they're in, so that brings their defense to 12 +1 for a 13 defense. I subtract 5 because of their attack skill, so that's an 8. Subtract 3 more because they're adjacent. That brings us to 5. I'm going to spend a cap point so that we make this a straight roll of a 4. So they need to roll 4 or higher to eliminate that unit. Oops, let's get it in the little tray. Ooh, I'm glad I spent that 1 cap point. We rolled a 4. So that is enough to hit the Russian unit or Soviet unit and eliminate it. So we'll take that off. I'll put the wound marker back in the bag. Put this now onto their cap tracker. So at this point, any more casualties will not go on the cap tracker, but if this goes one more turn, the Soviets only get 3 cap points, and that's the minimum that we can do. So it doesn't matter how many more casualties we take after this, you're always allowed 3 cap points per turn. And they were stressed. Why were they stressed? They hadn't shot yet. They did something. Oh, they did the rally. That's right, they rallied. So it's 3 +1 for the stress. That's 4. I need a 5 or higher to stay fresh. A 2. So that unit is spent. Hey, you know what? That's fine. They rallied. That uses a little bit of energy. And they did some combat. So they're tired. And they retain the stress. All right, cool. Then we flip back to the Soviet side. Okay. Right now there's no targets here. All right. Well, we'll go shoot down here. I think what we'll do first, though, I really want to try out this card because cap points are pretty cool. You know what? I'm going to wait on this card. I just realized because I can only have 3 cap points. I've got 2. So if I use this card now, I potentially am wasting cap potential. So I'll wait until the Soviet player uses some more cap points, and then this will potentially give me a chance to get back up to the 3 that I'm allowed. So we'll hold off on that. I don't want to lose too many caps. So we're going to say that this Soviet unit here is going to shoot at this unit in the woods so they can prevent being wiped out. So they have a defense of 12 plus 2 for the woods, 14. Then their firepower is 4, so that brings it down to an 8. They're not adjacent, but they'll spend their 2 cap points. That'll bring it to a 6. So this is all out battle now. We need a 6 to hit. 10. And hold on, we beat that number by 4. I'm going to just take a quick check because I believe the magic number was beat by 4 and you eliminate a unit. Let's find out. And yes, the critical hit is when you score 4 or higher. So I had brought their hit number down to a 6. We rolled a 10, so that actually eliminates the Panzer Grenadier unit. I was not expecting that. So that's a very good outcome for the Soviet player. So that would reduce my total caps now to 5 for the German player. Well, German player thought they were just going to do just roll right in. All right, well, that means they take a 4 to fire. So I need to roll a 5 or higher for that unit to stay fresh. They rolled a 2, so they're spent. That's okay. I think they're okay with that because they took out a Panzer Grenadier unit. But they do get stress for that. Okay, so then we go back to the German player. I think we'll wait on the rally. I think we'll go ahead and try to rally this unit. So it takes 5 to rally, and that's a score of 7 or higher. So we're gonna, I can modify that by cap. So instead of I'm gonna spend 1 cap point, so now I need a 6 or higher. Rolled an 8. All right, well, I didn't need to spend a cap point, but I did want to get them back into the fight. Get them back and fresh in the fight. I need a hero. And let's see if they're spent. It's a 5, so I need a 6 or 7 to stay fresh. Nope, so they're spent. But they are rallied. And we flip it back to, and they get the stress. So this guy rested, so they're not stressed anymore, but he's stressed. Then it goes back to the Soviet unit side, Soviet Union. Where to go? He needs to stay put. These guys need to move because they need to defend him. So they're going to move 1, and they're going to see if they get spent. Apparently moving a machine gun is tough because it costs 2 movement factors. So they'll stay fresh on a 3 or higher. They roll a 7, so they're fresh. But because they took the action, they will get a spent. Not a spent, but a stress. Then back to the German player side. Well, this guy doesn't have any backup. It would be easy for me to come up here, hopefully not die, but then I got nobody to follow up with. Ooh, so this turn might be a really short turn, I think. Part of me says, why don't you go and take this guy out? Why not? Yes. I'd have to move backwards in turn. And I don't know if moving backwards costs extra. Let me find out. I don't move backwards that often. Yeah, moving backwards costs 1 additional AP. So again, it's do I want to get stuck in the open here, or do I think I can still stay fresh and then initiate an attack? We're going to go for it. So I move backwards into a flank hex, and then I can rotate. That will put this in the front so we can actually attack it. That was 1 move. So I'm going to check to see if that makes him spent. So we add 1 to his move score. That's 2. I need a 3 or higher to stay fresh. Rolled a 7. So they move. No problem. This unit back here rested. And now they'll be able to shoot or do something. Okay, back to the Soviet player. Oh, well, I was thinking this, yeah, this building here blocks line of sight. So he can't shoot at the Germans open in the street. Even if I move. But if I move, I'm now able to defend the Satchel Courier. So we move 1. He retains his stress. Let me flip that to the Soviet side. But now it's 3. I have to roll a 4 or higher to stay fresh. Roll a 5. He's still good to go. Okay, then back to the German side. From there, we have, adjacent. So we're going to shoot. So we have a defense. It's 13 defense. They have an attack value of 4. So that makes it a 9. We're adjacent. That drops it to a 6. I'm going to spend 2 cap points to bring that hit number down to a 4. Because we're going to see if we can eliminate them. So we go 4, 6. We beat, but not enough to eliminate. It's just, I was hoping I could roll like an 8 or something, but no. I was hoping to get that lucky elimination shot. But instead we get unnerved. Well, that's actually bad for the German player. Unnerved, no penalties. I mean, other than the fact that they've got a damage marker on them, so if they get hit one more time, they're out. But there's no penalties, so they can fire with free abandon. So maybe not the best place to be for that German unit. Well, now he has a stress marker, so his firing is 3 plus 1 for the stress. He needs to roll a 5 or higher to stay in the fight. He rolls a 1, so he is spent and stuck in a very bad spot. He thought it would be worth it. Well, go big or go home. Stress stays on him. Oh, yeah. And now, this is where it's going to get really good for the Soviet player. Okay, so what I just did there, bad tactics. But I said to myself, go big or go home. And I think they're about to go home because now we'll spend this card to get some cap points. I'm going to play it on the Courier. So what happens is we're going to get 1 die 6 cap points back, and I'll show you why this might be good. Let's roll. Oh, it won't be as good as I thought it would be. I rolled a 6. Okay, so if I had the full cap points available for the Soviet player, they would be able to attack because they only need 3 action points to attack here with this rifles unit, but not going to work. So I go back up to 3 cap points because of what I got. I'm going to check for the Satchel Courier. He will stay fresh on a 3 or higher. He rolls a 1. So he's spent. Well, that's fine. He had nowhere to go anyway, right? So he's fine. So that would have been the Soviet player, then flip it back to the German player. They're all spent, but I do have a couple cap points. Not enough to shoot with, but I can definitely move some units. Moving is 1. I could make movement a free action. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to spend a cap point to make movement. Oh, it's going to take 2 cap points because it's going to take an extra cap point to move back into this building. I'm going to move him back into the building. Oh, but he has the stress. You know, the stress I don't think counts when you're spending cap points to do an action because I brought it to 0. But he retains the stress. Yeah, let me check on that real quick because he might not be able to move. Let me see if stress affects a cap in that capacity. Okay, so here's my understanding of that stress. If you make the cost of the action 0, they would still get stress, but you don't add the stress to that roll because you're not making the roll. So he would retain the stress, move in there, but no roll is made. That stress marker only affects when you make your roll. So if there was no action points spent, there's no roll made. Therefore, I only have to pay 2 action points to move him into the building. that's how it makes sense to me. So if anybody understood what I just said there, and you want to tell me if I'm right or wrong, cool. But for my understanding, oh, I don't need this card. They already got their caps. Since I made that a 0 action ability, I spent 2 caps to reduce the movement from 1. For move, it was actually 2 because it cost an extra to move into the building. That was now 0. There's no roll. There's no modifier to the, because of stress. So it's just, I spent my cap moving him back into safety. Then it would flip back to the Soviet player side. Now he's going to shoot. And it will probably stress him. We'll see. But he can fire. He just has stress. He's not spent. So he's got a defense. This is still a wood building, so it's a defense of 13. Their firepower is 3. So that brings it from 13 to 10. It's adjacent, so that's a 7. And they have cap points. So he spends 2 cap points. And he makes that a 5. Oh, I'm grabbing the wrong dice to spend here. Dropping this all over the place. All right, here we go. They hit on a 5. And they hit. They rolled a 5. All right. So I was playing smart with the Germans, and now I got kind of fancy with them, and maybe not so smart now. Got overconfident. And we drew stunned. Okay, well, they are now stunned. They can't fire or move. They're just stuck. Now, are they spent? It's 3 action points to fire. I'm going to reduce that by 1. I'm going to spend my last cap point. So they actually will stay fresh on a roll of 3. Yeah, because it's 4. Well, it says you can reduce. You spend that there. What does it say? You can spend as many cap points. I was going to pause again, but let me just take a look here. Where's the cap? Modify a spent check. Spend any number of cap points by rolling. For each cap point spent, reduce the action cost by 1. Oh, okay. So essentially, instead of saying that was a 3 action, that was a 2 action, 1 for stress. So I'm going to stay fresh on a 4 or higher. They rolled a 3. Oh, well. I thought we could eke out another shot there by the Soviets. Okay, so now we come to end of the turn. That's one more turn. Let me take the stresses so I don't lose them. I thought, in my mind, I thought the Germans would just push through, but the Soviets are holding up pretty good. So that means we're going to check for end of turn, check for victory points. So just so we're looking, the Germans did destroy another Soviet unit, so I'm increasing the victory point tracker by 1. Here, let me just swing it up here real quick so you can watch. But then the Soviets did destroy a German unit, so that brought it down. They have the Satchel in one of the headquarters spots, so that now flips the victory points back to the Soviet side. So the Germans have to push in, have to get to the Satchel in order to score some kind of victory. Then it says, yeah, we checked that. Mission end, nope, because we're still got 2 more turns to play. Now we're going to do the pre-round sequence, get prepped for the next one. So we advance the marker. So turn 4 is coming up. Remove all light smoke. There's no light smoke, no heavy smoke. Flip all spent units. All right, we can do that. Not that many here, so we'll flip them all. And they are good to go. All right, back in business. Battle cards. That's great because so far I'm using them. And actually, for me, every player who plays solo has to decide what's comfortable for them. Right now, what's comfortable for me is 1 card a person. That's easily manageable. Oops, and then use them. Maybe next game I'll go up to starting with the 2 and manage from that. But for now, just having 1 is great. So the Germans roll luck. Modify a dice roll. After your dice roll, attempt to modify the result by rolling a die 6. On a 1, it's a -3. On a 2 through 6, +2, added to the original result. It's either a lucky roll or a bad luck roll, but that might be useful for combat coming up. Okay, then the Soviet player draws a command action. One free action. A fresh or spent unit may take one free action of any cost. Again, that's a good card. Those are good. And they're both 0 cap, and one affects a unit and one is just used as a modifier. Alright, no problems there. Then prepare reinforcements. We have no reinforcements. We have no offboard artillery to plan or resolve. Roll for initiative. Okay. I think the Soviet player had initiative last time, so that means the German player is going to roll. If they roll a 7 or higher, they steal the initiative. They roll a 9. Okay, well that's very important because I'm going to flip my reminder. That will be important because I might have to rally or do something. And it says I can modify a dice roll. Yeah, I might need to. Maybe I'll use it on the rally attempt. Again, because this one isn't... Well, yeah, stunned is bad. He can't do anything. He is stunned. So, yeah, we might have to spin that here. But I definitely got to bring some units up. Maybe we'll try close assault next time. This Maxim machine gun has a white square around its firepower. That means it has basically some penalties in close assault. They aren't designed for close combat. So I want to get into the building with the machine gun. The other thing, too, is if I was thinking I could flank... Even if I was shooting from the flank, they have a weaker defense from their flank. I have to start thinking about that more too. More flanking kind of actions. Alright, well, he's in the square. Or the hex. Alright, well, that's it. That's the end of turn 3. It's going a little different than I thought it would, but it is still a pitched battle. Thank you all. Oh, the caps. Did forget to reset the caps, or at least that's at one point here. So the Soviet player goes back to 3 cap points. The German player is now up to 5 cap points. And we're all set for the next turn. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll show you turn 4 here in a day or two. Thanks a lot. Bye.